Okay, everyone. The worst of the cyclone's gone through pretty much. So awesome, someone's here already. It was a bit late. I didn't schedule this one until only a little while ago, but yeah. Last night was pretty full on. Like I was up all through the night. Roof was leaking along this bit up there. There, yep. And when the pressure from the heavy rain, it would like force its way through the bits on the different spots. So every so often it'd be at a different spot, and I have to move the bucket. And the place I fixed with in the next room with the drainage that worked. It only a little pool of water appeared there, which was it worked good. So that's good to know. Next time it sort of rains heavy like this, I don't have to worry as much. And what I'll do is I'll go and I'll put like waterproof sealant on everything. Happy Hermits here, awesome. Good to see you, mate. Yeah, it had leaks. Yeah, this wall's subterranean, so the top of this wall is the ground height. So like the water sort of forced its way in, and the rest of the house is pretty good as far as like the water runoff finds its way to the street and into the drains, and it's just this sort of bad spot. And then I noticed that like it would happen after a big surge of rain, and it would then it would leak, and then the leak would stop. So the leak moved. So there was 4 spots where it leaked along that line, and I'll just go over it with some good waterproofing sealant, and hopefully that'll help sort of keep it at bay for next time. So it's still raining heavy, and so this is what happened, is that the cyclone was north of where I am, and they were saying it was going to cross the coast there in a direct line. And what happened was it kept moving south, and the TV news was all 12 hours behind, and it was south, and that's where it was yesterday. So yeah, Happy Herman says any wind damage. Yeah, I moved my ute late last night when the wind was really heavy. Like that was the cyclonic wind, and it was real heavy. And I'd sort of dealt with the wind for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours before I really got worried. And then I thought I really need to go move the ute in case a tree branch falls on it. And then I went and moved it late last night up the road a bit. And when I went out on the road today, just a little while ago, I saw there was a big branch right near where the ute was. So either it fell on it last night and I didn't know, so there could be a little ding in it, or it happened afterwards, and it was a good call that I moved the ute so that it didn't get hit. It was probably a big enough branch to actually cause a dent, Cage Pastor's here. Awesome to see you here. Cage Pastor says, yeah, wow, savvy move. Yeah, it was. Like I was sort of leaving it there, trying to give confidence in the fact that the storm's not going to hit. And then I thought, this is silly because it could easily just do the damage and all I had to have done is move the ute, and I had opportunity to do it. So that's when I was like, yep, I've got to just go move it. And I did that. And then I slept well. Well, even though I didn't really sleep well because I kept waking up to the sound of drips. And then I'm lucky that I woke up to the sound of the drips. Like I'd hear the drip sound and it'd just wake me up. And then I'd like jump up and like find where it is. And I usually keep my bow along that wall there. So like I don't want it to get wet, you know. So I moved it today. I've got my didgeridoo there, but like it's away from the wall, whereas it actually got the case got water on it, so it did drip onto the bow, but it didn't go through the case onto the bow, so it didn't do any damage to it. Happy Homer says, did you lose power or is it all underground? We've got above ground power lines here. A couple of streets away it goes underground, but it's most of the suburbs above ground. No, about half the suburbs above ground, actually. The older part of the suburbs all above ground, and the newer parts all below ground. Where I am, because Dad went out to the shops and went to go have lunch somewhere, but he couldn't, and because they were shut. And what he found is that basically from about 1.5 kilometers or about a mile away, it powers out, and it's out. Over 100,000 people, I think, have got power outage at the moment, and that's over a large area too. So we're very lucky to have power here. We must be on a separate circuit, and so yeah, people just down the road have got power out, and all the street lights are the street lights and the traffic lights are out, so they're all flashing, and which is something that you'd think with the technology that they would be able to have power outage, because a lot of the street lights these days are powered by LEDs, so they don't use nowhere near as much power. So they could have like a battery inside these poles, and then when the connection goes down, they just connect to the thing, Yeah, Happy Homer says, damn, that's sad. Hopefully they get it back quickly. Yeah, absolutely. Most of it is from branches knocking tree lines down. Apparently there's thousands of power lines on the ground. And so when there's that many power lines on the ground, it's difficult for them to fix them. And they can't really fix them while it's raining. They can, but it's very slow. So they can't. Tomorrow, most of this rain will be gone tomorrow. So, it is sad that so many people are without power. I'm very lucky here. Alex is here, man. Awesome to see you, brother. Haven't seen you for a while. It's like, we both gone through, well, cyclones here. You had hurricane there. Same thing. They just spin different directions. But yeah, good to see you, man. And good. Alex says, good to hear you're safe. Thanks, mate. And my room didn't flood. That was one of my biggest things, is I was worried about the room flooding. Is that it happened in 2022 and in 2016, and it really broke me. And it took me a long time to recover from it. Like, to be honest, what happened is everything got so saturated, it got moldy, and it got to the point where it wasn't healthy for me, because I was breathing in the mold and stuff like that. And that's one of the worst things that people who go through floods and all that have to deal with, is the additional health effects that happen afterwards, from the mold and the toxins and things like that are there. So Happy Hermit says, how long do these cyclones happen? They happen every year, pretty much, or every second year, almost every year, but not here. So we had one come through in 2016. It was downgraded to a category 1 when it came through. So it was still a cyclone, but it really only caused the heavy rain. But it traveled as a category 1 cyclone for like hundreds of kilometers and caused a lot of damage down along its path. Mostly from the rain, not from the wind. So North Queensland gets a lot of cyclones. They get them, and every 50 years we get cyclones. 50, 60 years average. But there's lots of evidence of major cyclones hitting this area in the past. We have these sand islands out the front of our bay. They may have been formed from major cyclones in the past. And actually, even the shape of the islands are almost shaped like, sort of like two cut marks, so like the cyclone shapes the curve of the island, even though they don't come through very often. It's just my theory, but like it's also shaped by the winds coming up from the south, but like just the curve that it's like the curves of the 3 main islands are like scallops marks that are they fit the scale and the shape of a cyclone. So maybe they were shaped by cyclones in the past. Awesome. Kat's here. Good to see you here, Kat. Kat says hi, everyone. So yeah, safe and sound. Didn't flood too much. There's heaps of branches on the ground outside the house. I haven't gone far. Tomorrow I'm going to go for a walk we'll go for a walk and a drive, but I'll go to the creek and I'll show you the creek and the dam, because I'm not far from the dam, and like it'll be overflowing pretty majorly right now. So the creek will be just amazing. It'll just be like the creek's normally just this slow flowing creek, but when the dam overflows, the whole thing floods, and then it rises up, and then it's amazing. It's yeah, Kat says glad you're safe and the cyclone didn't do too much damage. Yeah, absolutely. I think the Gold Coast got a lot of mostly trees falling over. I didn't see much evidence of like house roofs or anything like that. There was more trees and power lines down. And I haven't really watched much of the news, so I don't really know what level of flooding, but I suspect there's some pretty major flooding in a lot of areas. I did see some reports of places flooding yesterday, and that was before the rain got real heavy. So if they were flooding yesterday before the rain got heavy, then, a friend of mine's, her shed got completely destroyed from a tree falling on it, Kat says, yeah, great time to check out the waterways. They will be thriving. Absolutely. I can't wait. So I'll put a video up tomorrow. I'll just record it and then upload it. And that'll be cool. Kat says, hi, Happy Hermit with the waving hands. Crusoe says, Crusoe's here. How you going, Crusoe? Good to see you here, brother. Crusoe's on the south of Brisbane. So Crusoe went through some heavy rain. So I hope you're all right, Crusoe. Crusoe says, we didn't lose power in Robina. That's lucky, man. You're you're in a good spot. Robina's a little bit far enough inland, a little bit protected, but you're not really that protected there, really. There's no real mountains or anything to protect you from the wind. So that's really lucky that you stayed with power. And because you got like the hospital there as well. Hopefully that means, you know, that you've got good solid power connection. But yeah, hopefully you didn't get flood much there. I think Robina's a little bit up on the hill. There's a few lower lying areas than Madrabar. I think along the river there, probably a bit of flooding, but they're used to a lot of that flooding too. So Happy Hermit says, "Is Australiana okay?" That's a really good question, and I was gonna. That's a really good question. I've been thinking about her. So the cyclone came down the coast. I can draw it maybe. Here we go. So the cyclone came down the coast. I'll just do a quick drawing. It's not going to be right. And then so I'll color these islands in so the islands stick out. They're very not accurate and to size and scale, and to shape, but it's just to show you the path. So the cyclone came down the coast, and it was sitting about here. I was sitting about here, you know, spinning around, and it was meant to go across that way. But what happened was it came down and then came in between the islands and the land. Right, it came across there, and then it went up through this gap here. Came up through this gap, and it sat there, and that's right near where Australiana is, and it just hopefully she's all right. They would have got a lot of wind where they are, and it sat there for ages until it basically ran out of energy right there. It never really crossed inland. A lot of times cyclones will go inland, but this just sat there, and then it eventually it did cross, but it didn't go inland. It just sort of stayed there, and then it kept feeding, you know, the rain. So all through the night we got the heavy rain, and it was just kept coming down from that direction straight towards me. And so that we got Dad measured the rain gauge. It was 160 mils. So that's a decent amount of rain, you know. It was spread out enough. That's why my room didn't flood so bad. So I hope that Australiana is good, and hope that, you know, maybe she'll pop into the stream if she's not like dealing with flooding and things like that, or tired from being awake all night. Because that's the other thing, you know. I got sleep, but then I didn't get sleep until today. So like I had to stay awake just in case it flooded. So yeah, I hope Australiana's good and that she didn't get much damage from, because I was thinking of her because it was like sitting right there. It downgraded from category 2 to category 1 during that time, which is good. But sometimes also when you're in the eye of the cyclone, like if you're in the eye of the cyclone, you don't get as much rain, and the wind dies down because you're in the quiet spot. It's on the edge, on the southern edge. In Australia, it's the southern edge, and in America, it's the northern edge is the most dangerous and damaging. It's where the most strong winds are. Alex says, "Yeah, man, that's scary. It is." I was worried at times for sure, and I felt lucky. I still feel lucky, and I feel like where I am, I'm very lucky. You know, and the way it all happened, I think everyone's lucky. It could have been much, much worse. You know. Harmony Seeker's here. Awesome. So glad you could make it, Harmony Seeker. And Harmony Seeker says, glad you made it through okay. Thank you so much. Like, it is so good. And it's given me a good sort of momentum, or what's the word? Inspiration to, like, this week's going to be very busy. There's a lot of cleanup, like as far as just the garden and around the house. It's just branches everywhere. Only small branches though. And all through the night, there was just the sound of branches hitting the roof. And that was what sort of got me to move my ute, because I was like, oh well, if there's branches hitting the roof, the roof, then they'll be hitting the ute, so I should move it. And but yeah, there's a few big branches, but nothing massive, nothing that the roof didn't get damaged by branches, which is good. But they're loud when they hit. And this was a funny thing. You'd hear the wind, and then like you'd hear a bang on the roof, and then like 30 seconds later you hear another bang. It's almost like there's two branches on the same tree that were just about to fall, and they all fall reasonably around the same time. So Happy Homer says, that's crazy. Do people live on the islands? Yes. So this one here is a national park, K'gari, or it used to be called Fraser Island, and they're all sand islands. These are all sand islands, and so they were formed by a tsunami or major cataclysm that created them. I say cyclonic thing helped shape them as well, but certainly tsunami or something was the main. There's different theories of how they were formed, because they're so big, they couldn't have just like accretion. They couldn't have just grown. They think they would have washed away, but they've all got forests and stuff on them, like, and beautiful. Fraser Island or K'gari has got beautiful freshwater springs and lakes and things like that. And then you've got Bribie Island, which is very close to there's a bridge that goes to Bribie Island. All these other islands have got, you've got to go there by barge or boat, But this one's really close, and there's like a strait in between, which becomes mud flats or sandbars, we call them. Not sandbars. In low tide, you can go walking out far in between the island and the mainland. And then you've got Moreton Island, and then people live on Moreton Island. Lots of people live on Bribie Island. And there was also a lot of heavy rain up here, where you've got just north of, you got Hervey Bay, and you got a lot of people living on the coast there. But like, that's Sunshine Coast. A lot of people, but then it didn't get too bad. It was really down here where it all hit. So it came down Gold Coast, Northern Rivers, like the borders down here, and the cyclone. The bulk of the rain was actually hitting, not even in Queensland, in the next state. So, but like Moreton Island's got like it's got a resort and it's got permanent residents, people that live there in a small village area, generally uninhabited. And then North and South Stradbroke have got, I think North Stradbroke's got more people living there, and then South Stradbroke's more uninhabited. But there's, you know, there's people on both, and not many. And there's a few islands out here as well. There's a couple of islands that people live on. Not many people live on them as well. It's much smaller again, but like it's just really strange how the cyclone came down here, crossed over into this gap here, and then it moved up and then sat there and then just wore out. And then now it's a tropical low. And so it's still sending all the rain in that direction, but it's not doing it's not spiraling. So as soon as it's like it changed direction. So instead of the cyclonic spinning in Australia, it's clockwise, and it goes round and up. When it became a low, it sort of, and then it started pushing down that way. So now it's all, and this is usually what happens with lows. They usually go in that direction, down the coast. Happy Hamid says, yeah, we get tons of hurricanes here. They're exhausting. Yeah, exactly. We're very lucky in Brisbane. Like, they generally don't come this far south. And we've got a couple of barriers. So we've got these sand islands, but we've also got the shape of Queensland. So like the cyclones will come down and then they'll sort of go in. They won't like keep coming down. And it's also, it gets down to the cooler waters. So you got these things pushing it back up. So they don't get as, the other thing is cyclones that come down this far aren't as powerful because they don't have the heat from the ocean and the convection and all that stuff to keep them charged and keep them running. So we're lucky enough. But saying that, Brisbane has forever has had cyclones every 50, 100 years. There'll be a big cyclone that gets here. I don't know the exact number, but there's evidence of major cyclones in the past. Happy Hammer says, yeah, plus the strong and weak side and the storm surge being close to the coast, very lucky. Yeah, exactly. That's it. So I was on where I am. I'm about here. So like it came down south. So the surge was actually sadly, people were getting affected by it, but I wasn't, you know, so lucky for me. But then it moved up and the wind was fierce all night, but we still had the islands to protect us. So you had the islands, then the bay, and then the land. 20 kilometers from that is where I am. So it's like, you know, it's 15, 16 miles. So it's decent amount inland, but not that far, you know, it's far enough. So yeah, I hope Australiana's okay, and I haven't heard yet. So hopefully she joins the stream, or I'll put a post on the community page, and then hopefully she responds to let us know. But I'd say where she was, like she got the winds and the rain, you know, down the Gold Coast. And like Crusoe was saying, he didn't get he didn't get power out, but apparently there's a lot of trees down on the Gold Coast. And I think they're in those suburbs that have above ground power lines. are the ones where they've got all the power out. So I think Robina's lucky too, because I think a lot of its power is below ground, or almost all of it. So Crusoe says, is that how the cyclone traveled? Righto. Yeah, I think so. So yeah, it came down, and I was watching the radar over the last few days. So it came down. Now, this is one thing, the news got everything wrong. They were saying the cyclone was up here, right? A day and a half ago, and they said it was going to cross here. This is what they said. And then a few hours later, it was already down here. Like it was literally over, the eye of the cyclone was over Southport, almost. And then a little bit north of Southport. And then that's when it crossed and then came up through this gap. And then it just sat there spinning until it wore out. It's phenomenal. It'd be good to watch the actual track of it, but they did get it wrong. I don't know why they were. I'm sure people are going to complain about that, because they were saying the cyclone was somewhere where it actually wasn't. Like, you watch the news and then you watch the different radars and you're like, it's not there. It's actually far further south than where they're saying it is. They ended up getting it right in the end. The fact that it came down and across and then came back up again. So they were right with that. So that was interesting. But it has the actual low itself. The low itself has now gone inland, but not as a cyclone. It's just as a weather system. So they're getting a lot of rain inland as a storm, not as a cyclone. So that means that when they said it was going to go inland a few days ago, it has actually tracked across that area where they said it was going to go, even though it went off on a different path and came back. And it's as a heavy storm, which means that they're used to that. They're just going to be fine. Happy Hermit says, yeah, that's crazy how it moved and stalled. I'm surprised it didn't grow more as it sat. The islands probably helped a lot. Yes, absolutely. So there's two things with that. If it was in the north, where there's warmer oceans and more sunshine and all that sort of stuff, or more heat, we're right on the sort of barrier here where the cold ocean currents come up. So the ocean is much colder, whereas up there, it's shallower too. So the ocean is warmer because it's shallower. And then cyclones in the north, if they sit there, they can charge up. They can be like category 2 and then go back to 5 and then cross and be bad, So it was already wearing out. So it was only category 2 and then downgraded to 1. It still can cause a lot of damage, especially if you've got trees that don't, trees and houses that aren't used to cyclone. You don't know how they're going to behave. Yeah. So it did sort of sit there, and it went around, and before, like over the last few days, it came around and did a few loops, and it stalled. And it's like it stalled there. But then when it stalled there, it wore itself out. And exactly what you're saying is the the islands did their bit, because it sort of had land on either side of it. And even though it was stalled, it was sort of using all its energy. And then eventually it just broke up. Happy Hammer says, crazy the news got so wrong. The best apps I found are My Radar and also WeOWow. I'm on Android. Also, Windy app is great. Yeah, I've used Windy. Windy's great, and I haven't used those other ones. Yeah, I'm interested to find out what what sort of repercussions. There is people complaining about all this stuff, and there was a few things they got wrong. They said it was not to worry about it. It's like it's already sort of finished, and it hadn't. It was still going. It was still Category 1, and all this rain that we've got now, all this flooding, is from that. All that wind last night was after they were saying not to worry so much. So there are people complaining, but like, I had the conversation with my dad, like, oh, what's going on here? Like, they're saying the cyclone's here and it's actually south. And he's like, yeah, it's south. It's like South Stradbroke and it's going to cross there. And that's basically almost over the Gold Coast, the northern end of the Gold Coast. And I was like, yeah, but why are they saying it's in the north? Like, it's actually not there. It's not where they're saying it is. And it's almost like they didn't correct it straight away. They corrected it later, but they didn't correct it early enough. So there'll be people sort of complaining about that. And yeah, so we got probably a night full of rain. It's probably going to still rain all night. At least it's gentle enough. Like it's solid heavy rain, but it's gentle enough to not be for me to worry, and hopefully other people to worry that if you've flooded already, hopefully it's not going to get heavy enough to continue the flooding. Well, it's hard to say. When it's flooded and it's still raining, then it's going to keep rising, I guess, if there's enough. And it is pretty heavy. I don't know if you can hear in the background. Maybe the microphones are cutting that out, but like, it's just started raining again, and it's doing that in cycles, I'll quickly check the radar and see what it's doing. Yeah, it's basically like a tropical low now, and it's going to stay like this all night by the look of it. So what's the forecast saying? How much more rain? Okay, when it gets to this time of day, the forecast stops telling you how much rain it's going to. They stop saying how much it's going to rain for the rest of the day, but it's going to be a lot. So if we've already had 160, that was then. So by tomorrow, it'll probably be a total of 250, 300 mils. That's a lot of rain. That's a foot of rain. When they had the cyclone a year ago, it was like 2 meters of rain in 24 hours in some places. So that's a lot. That's why they flooded so bad. They couldn't cope with it. So, but yeah, I'll check out those apps as well. I'll write that down. My radar. We are wow. We are wow. But yeah, no, and Windy's really good, except like I think you get a lot more features when you pay for it, So I've already got enough subscriptions, although it is worthwhile. I've got, even just as a free one, if you just have the free version of Windy, you get quite a lot there. We've got our Australian Meteorological Service has got a pretty good called SatView, and that's got some good quality stuff. I can't screen share, so I can't go to the website and show you, because I'm using the inbuilt YouTube streaming. Happy Hammer says flood watch still for McIntyre River. I'm looking now on my radar. Yeah, that's it. I think there's some major flooding on some rivers, but they're further away. So I don't know. I haven't even looked into like I haven't checked the news. I've been really away from it. So like I sort of feel bad for that because I know that so many people are really actually the ones who've copped it, you know. And I did watch some news stuff and they were showing how much the Gold Coast got hit. You know, they got smashed. But it seems to be basically a large area. So north and south both got smashed in certain places. Yeah, WeWow is good for everyday weather. My radar is similar to Windy. Okay, so that's good to know. Good to check both. I've got them written down now, so I'll check them out. But yeah, it's like you can see my guitar's not there, which is usually my guitar's sitting up there on the thing. It almost got water on it. It was dripping right next to it, and it just missed it. So I'm just expecting more drops, but it hasn't gone through the it hasn't leaked through the roof or the bearer there at the top of the wall. It hasn't leaked through there for 4 or 5 hours. So that's a good sign. So what I'm suspecting is that the wood has swollen in all the spots where it leaked, because that's what happened. It leaked in one spot, then it leaked in another spot, and it just kept changing where it was leaking. And it would leak there for a while and it'd stop. So I think that's what's happened. It's swollen and then stopped leaking because it's only a mild leak. It's not a major one. So that's good. But yeah, it's going to give me a lot to do in the next few days. As soon as the rain stops, I'm going to have yeah, basically I'll fill up the back of the ute with branches and leaves and things, and there was it was pretty cool. Last night I was sitting here, I was right here, and my pillow was just sitting here, and I hear this like sound. I'm like, pop sound, and I look over and there's like a little green tree frog there. It's classic. I'll show you. It was and then when I was trying to catch it, it kept jumping out of my hand, and you know, eventually it calmed down and just knew that it was safe to stay there, and I was easy. It wasn't hard for me to catch it. I just put my hand there and it'd walk on it, and then I'd lift my hand up and then it'd jump off, and I'd be like, "Boy!" And then I went and put it in the pond. I don't know if you can see. There's a little frog. It was pretty cool. And then I let it go in the pond. There it is in the pond. I don't know if you can't see, it's too green. No, but yeah, you might be able to see it there. You see it's, there you go. See a little green tree frog. And I felt bad. I was like, oh, should I have left it back outside? And I was like, yeah, but that's it. That's where it lives. So it'll find a leaf to stay safe. Yeah, Alex says, yeah, the frog was seeking safety too. I know. That's why I feel bad. I was like, I went and took it back out into its natural environment. I'm like, oh no, did I just make it worse for the frog? But then I know that where the pond is, there's so many plants that would make like a perfect shelter for it. So, we got bromeliads all through there, and frogs live in bromeliads. So hopefully it's all good. But it's pretty cool, like green tree frog. That's what I guess having a pond helps. That it gives them a habitat. So and there was also the turkey as well. I got a photo of that. So the turkey was staying on the veranda. It stayed on the veranda last night, and this was like a turkey from. Oh, you probably can't see this one too well in the. You can see it. You can see the shape of it. So that turkey, that's from this year's. It's only like 6 months old. That turkey, they grow really fast. So yeah, it's experienced some heavy rain, and the possum's okay. The possum that lives here at the top of the stairs, it's like sleeping well, and it's in a nice safe spot. I gave it an apple yesterday, and I gave it like some cut up fruit last night. So because it couldn't go out looking for food, I normally don't feed it very often because it's a wild animal, but like occasionally I'll give it a bit of food, and perfect time to do that is that it can't go get food itself, so it's sort of just and yeah, it's cuddled up against the wall where it is, so it's staying safe. Happy Hermit says such a pretty frog, and he's friend shaped too. He is. I always thought turkeys lived in groups. I'm so dumb. Lol. No, well, these live in groups. They do. They do. Like, what happens is you got um, once the male tends to the nest, and then when the babies are born, the babies crawl out of the nest, and they find the mother, and then the father doesn't really get much time with the babies. Then the mother looks after them as they grow up, and then they sort of both do. Like they all stick around the area, but they roost up in the trees. Like they jump up from they fly up from branch to branch until they get up high in the tree, and they generally sort of don't roost together. But during the daytime, because I think when they're younger, they can't roost up high in the trees, so they roost closer to the ground. They're more vulnerable that way, but like they seem to do all right, and they hang out. So brother, sister that come from the same nest, they stick together as they're growing up, and often the mother will stay with them as they're growing up until they get to a certain age, and then they let them sort of look after themselves, and then they sort of split up once they get older. The brothers and sisters sort of go off because they can't, like, territorially, they can't sort of, they can stick to that area, but once they get they sort of get kicked out at a certain point, and they move, they find their own place to be. So they sort of do stay in groups, but smaller groups, and it's only when they're growing up and then they're sort of solitary after that, and they sort of come together. There will be bush turkeys in groups. That happens. So like when you have in the bush, you have populations of bush turkeys that they all sort of congregate at a certain time of day. So they might spend most of the day separate, and then they'll come together and sort of roost or get to know, like they get to know a spot that they like to be at late in the afternoon before sunset, and they'll go through and they'll feed together, and then they'll go and find a tree, you know. So, but they're similar to American turkeys, but the Australian bush turkeys, they're amazing creatures. They turn over a lot of. Happy Homer says, I think American turkeys are too fat for trees. Maybe it just might be that they've been domesticated or something like that. I don't know. But these are like wild, so they can only get so big, and Australian bush turkeys eat all grubs and stuff like that, so they don't really have a super high protein diet. But it's amazing how fast they grow. I'm like, when the baby bush turkeys come out of the nest, they're like this big, they're like this big when they come out of the nest, and then within weeks they're like that big, and then they're that big, and then they sort of stay about that big for a few weeks, and then suddenly they're double the size. And that one on the veranda, that's probably the size of its body. So like head to tail, it's like that. And that's just within 4 or 5 months. It's amazing. And then they sort of slow down a bit. They sort of grow slower, and then they get to adult size within 2 years or something, year and a half, 2 years. But they, yeah, they're pretty cool. A lot of people don't like them because they wreck your gardens, and they have wrecked my garden, or mum's garden, the one we built together. We gave up growing food at home because of that, because they just tear it apart. So I want to get some herbs and veggies grown, and if I do, I'm going to have to set up nets. It's the only thing that sort of stops them. They just dig everything up, and they're protected. You know, like people catch them, like they pay professional relocators that come and catch them and move them, and that's sort of you know, it's their habitat. You know, they live here, so we should just accommodate them. And it's a little bit rough. I don't like that, you know. And yeah, no, bush turkeys are awesome. Yes, that works. Happy Hermit has a good point. You could possibly do chicken wire with metal rods, rig up little door, get in. Exactly. Yeah, I could do something like that. Make it sort of, rather than a mesh, like make it more like that, like a greenhouse with chicken wire without the shade cloth. Another thing you can do is like put chicken wire on the ground and let the plants grow up through the chicken wire, and then the turkey tries to scratch it, and they get their claws stuck in the chicken wire, and they just like, they don't like it, so they don't bother with it. So it's not hurting them, you know. So that, but they can't, because they won't actually eat your plants. They're digging up the dirt to get to the insects in the dirt in the ground. But if they see inside your greenhouse, there's all this lovely dirt. They'll try and break in just to get to the dirt to dig it up. So they really are, you know, they can cause a lot of anguish for what they can destroy. So if you've got like a pot, like a pot, they'll jump on the pot and just dig out the pot, even with just a plant in it. Like they'll just destroy anything. And they've got real good sense of smell. So if you put fresh like soil in something and you plant something up fresh, like, and it's still nice and neat, they come and smell it and they dig it up. So it's like, you're like, no, it's not fair. Happy Homer says, what if you build raised flower beds? Yeah, that's the problem, is they'll jump up on the raised flower bed and they'll dig into it still. If you go raised flower bed, you need to have a cover over it. So that's something you can do, like lift up covers, like, you know, a thing. So you walk up to the raised flower bed and lift up the thing, and that's something I could do. So, you know, I'll think about that, because I do want to get plants going, because we used to have, Mum and me used to have like a full herb garden, veggie garden. Possums are the other ones too. Like the possums will eat everything. Yeah, Happy Homer says, "Oh damn, yeah, it's it." If you've got it, you know, it's just where I am. I'm so close to the creek and the national park that we're always going to have turkeys coming in. So I've just got to get used to it, you know. But like, and it's part of the blessing of having nature around, you know. So I appreciate having the trees and the birds and that. So it's unfortunate. So like, you know, one of my neighbors, he's got like a full, exactly what you talked about, is like a raised bed, and he's actually had to build a full cover for it. And that's not just for the turkeys, that's for the possums, because the possums will eat all the plants. They'll eat all the plants, the veggies, the leaves, and they'll eat it. So just sort of got to live with them. I think I'll either build a greenhouse or do a big shade thing, or chicken wire frame, like you were saying. That'll be something to do. And it looks like this rain's still continuing, you know. So enough about me. How's everyone else going? I hope everyone's going all right. Like, I'll put the call out on the community page about Australiana. I hope she's fine. And yeah, so lucky that it just didn't do the damage that it did. And I think that goes for everyone. Like basically the whole, you know, Brisbane, Sunshine Coast, and the Gold Coast. You know, even northern New South Wales, like the rivers are flooding, but like places that thought they were going to get much worse damage didn't. So we've got to be very thankful. Everyone's got to be very thankful for it all. And you know, I look forward to getting out there and cleaning up. Happy Hammond says, okay, long weekend. I found out my best childhood friend passed away. Oh, sorry to hear that, mate. My best childhood friend passed away Thursday, so I took Friday off and taking it easy. Yeah, take it easy, man. That stuff's not. It's like a shock, isn't it? And then, especially when it's like your best childhood friend, you know. and hopefully you get to go and be there for the funeral or ceremony or whatever, and hopefully this weekend's being time spent thinking about, you know, the good times. But that's a real shock when something like that happens. You really feel it. So I hope you're it's hard to, trying to think of words to say for condolences, but yeah, condolences. I can't really think of what to say. I just, you know, it's sad when that happens, and you can't. You want to feel that sadness, because that's the sadness that was the love, you know, the friendship. So, give it that time to think about it and appreciate the good times, and you know, it hurts a lot because it means a lot, you know. Happy Homer says, yeah, it just didn't feel real. You just remember the good times of the 80s and 90s, riding bikes, playing Sega, birthdays, and then reality is like, well, yeah, exactly. That's it. That's when I think of those times. That's what I think of, riding push bikes, BMX, and playing Sega, and things were simpler then, you know. And then suddenly all this time goes by, you know. Happy Homer says it's okay. I understand it happens to us. I understand you. It happens to us all. Yeah. It is such a difficult thing, though, isn't it? Like, um, yeah, I guess just reflecting and appreciating doesn't make the pain go away. It makes it pain there, you know. But like, building ramps out of scrap wood, yeah, with the smiley face. Absolutely, I got fond memories of doing that too, man. That was good fun. And then like trying to like say who gets to ride the ramp first, who gets to like try and launch it, who owns the ramp, you know, because you can't both take it home. You know, if it's, yeah, there's good memories making skateboard ramps and BMX ramps and that. Lol, yeah, that's it. Happy home, it says. Totally. I remember when I was first like, I was too scared to like, if I was too scared to launch off the ramp, I'd go off the side. Same with the skateboard. Then eventually I'd do it. It's fun. I didn't do it on the big ones. We had friends who had a big ramp, and it was just way too big. I was scared of that. But yeah, um, the more appropriate sized ramp, I wasn't afraid to jump off. You know, launch was fun. Happy Homer says, I still remember the sound of ramps bouncing off the street from our 6 jumps. Yeah. They got a sound to them, don't they? Like a dunk sound, like they sort of slap against the road. And then the sound of dragging it back to your house. You put a skateboard underneath it and wheel it, like if it was light enough. The good ramp that I was happy to launch off, like it was only light, so you could like put a skateboard underneath it and push it. Happy Home says, yeah, they do, lol. Yeah, that's it. They got the sound to them, like takes you back. You don't see that much of it these days. I'm surprised I don't see that more often, like people with ramps. And I mean, skate parks are big these days. They're everywhere. Big skate parks, massive bowls and half pipes and all that. That's something that is pretty good, you know. And it's in here in, you know, around where I live in this part of Queensland. There's pretty much, even all over Australia now, like, but almost every suburb's got its own skate park, which is pretty cool. And you know, when I was a kid, we had a skate bowl, but it was tiny, you know. It wasn't really much. And then all the big stuff got built when I quit skating. Once I stopped skating, they started building these big parks, and I went and skated a few, and then it was when I sort of stopped. Happy Hammer says kids are inside on their computers, iPads, and phones. We were so lucky. Yeah, that is a good point. Like exploring the bush and like going down the creek and making ramps and doing all that stuff. It was good fun. Happy Hammer says, yeah, you know where to hang out by where all the bikes were in the yard, not by text message. Yeah. That's it, eh? That's it. It's a whole different world these days. I couldn't imagine that, you know. When I was growing up, it was like you had the phone. We even had like the phones that had the dial pad that you know. I remember when we replaced our like rotary phone for a push button phone, you know. It was this you know. And if you called someone, like, you could only call if no one was on the phone at the time, you know, because it was the one phone per house. So it's such a different world these days. Happy Homer says, yeah, I had push button phone that was a car, lol. Oh, yeah. I think I know the ones you're talking about. And then you pick it up and so you just put the phone down and it hangs up. That's it. We've still got our phone on the wall that hasn't changed. Like, so once they changed over from that to cordless phones, they left that phone there, even if it was unplugged. So it's still there. It's just a memory of the phone. We got like one of those bell phones as well here, you know, with the like, hello. And then they had to use the patching things. It's like an antique one. Unfortunately, ants ate all the timber out. It was in perfect condition. We had two of them, and they were in perfect condition, and they're now in bad condition. Happy Homer says, yeah, and when the caller ID came out, it was like we had put a man on Mars. Absolutely. It was a whole different thing, wasn't it? It's like, now I know who's calling. It's like a whole different thing. And that was long before mobile phones too. So like it was, slow introduction to it all. Happy Hammer says exactly, lol. It had that little tab near the wheel that would automatically answer. That's cool. So you could have that turned on, so it would just ring and answer. That's cool. Sort of miss that, really. I mean, I guess I do that with phone. I like plugging in the headphones to talk on the phone. Sort of reminds me of having a cable. Happy Homer says, did you have a pager with the smiley face? No, I didn't have one, but like I did actually have one at one point, but I never actually used it. I was given it, and it was like, do I want, like it was before mobile phones, so I had the option to use it, and I would have had to have a connection, but it was much cheaper than actually mobile phones, so I could have had the pager connection. I sort of went without it, and then I sort of went without mobile phones until they started getting cheaper, and then I finally got one, but they were still expensive when I got my first mobile. Happy Homer says I'd go back in a heartbeat. Yeah, I would too. I like that old school connection of not always being connected. I mean, it's such a good thing to be able to pick up your phone and just ring someone, but it used to be a thing where there'd be a certain time of day where you'd call, like you'd expect someone will call you this time of day, and then the phone rings, and then you have a conversation. Then with mobile phones, it sort of became more, could be any time of the day someone calls. So I love that. So yeah, tomorrow is going to be, I mean, it sounds like the rain just eased up again, but it keeps doing that. It keeps going like heavies and then eases up. It certainly dropped off. Certainly has dropped. I'm just looking at the radar. Yeah, look, it might stop raining in the next few hours now. Looking at this radar and the direction it's going, we might just get a few more showers through the night. Happy Homer says we should have stopped technology with MySpace. It was just the perfect amount of social media. I was actually thinking about MySpace the other day too. It was a little bit, it was cool. MySpace was cool. It had everything, and it was better than Facebook, and it was around before it, pretty much. They make out like Facebook was the original. It's like, was it? It's like, I reckon, yeah. I think you're right. I think there's some things that it's good, and just the way everything changes too. Like, it used to be that social media was the people that you were friends with and the pages you liked. That's what it showed you. Now it's curated by an algorithm to try and keep you there, and it's AI generated stuff. It's like clickbait sort of stuff, like people making silly stuff just to keep you engaged. Like there's a big thing on Instagram now. It's like similar to ASMR, but it's like visual. So it's like videos of people just cutting fruit and like scraping paint off of like a something, you know, or plastering something, or breaking something open. And it's just like, I didn't need to see any of this stuff. I mean, for people who've never done stuff and never seen stuff, like, that's really understandable. But like, it doesn't, you know, it's weird. It's strange. Or like getting tape, unpeeling tape. It's it. Happy Homer says it looks like it's the breaking apart, just smaller bands of rain now. Yeah, you're right. That's the radar. I think it is. It's breaking apart, and it's also sort of tracking down closer to the coast. So I'm inland a bit, so it's not going to hit so bad. Even the rain, there's nothing behind it. So there's once it goes through, it should be clear skies, you know. So Happy Homer says it's poison. Yeah, that's it. Oh, we're talking about the social media stuff. Totally, I agree. It's good, and it's good to connect with friends and stuff, but it's also we got to be careful what we focus on, you know. Happy Homer says, I feel bad I took over your chat. That's all right, brother. Like, people are happy to listen, you know, and sometimes that if other people aren't chatting, like, they can pipe in. Anyone who wants to chat in can, you know. All the way around's here. Absurd. All the way around says, hi, Luke. How you going all the way around? Good to see you. I usually remember when people that have been here before. I'm not sure if I've seen you in the chat, so you're welcome here, and it's good you're here, and awesome that you're here. You know, thank you for saying hello. And see, there you go, Happy Hermit. Someone else is saying something. Happy Hermit all the way says, haha, people tend to say around, it always makes me laugh. Exactly. I said that first, didn't I? Thank you for that. Yeah, there you go. I corrected it. Happy Hermit says welcome. So there you go. Welcome from Happy Hermit all the way. So yeah, we're just having a good chat tonight, and it's good. Happy Hermit, we just had a good chat with Happy Hermit, and often Happy's here, and he might say some stuff, and then the chat, and then like he'll be listening. So like, it's good that we all take turns at having a good chat at times. So I appreciate that. We got to have a good chat tonight. Happy. All the way Absurd says, hope you're well. I've been going through it. I like your healing energy. You do good work on yourself, and I like that you wish to share it. Thank you so much. And you know, I appreciate the support and appreciation I get from other people too, you know. And I know I've got a long way to go, and you know, I need to get back onto it. I need to keep pushing through. So having you all here helps me stick to it all, you know. So we're on this healing journey together, Absurd. So we'll keep working at it bit by bit, and things will get better each day. Even if they go bad for a few days, they'll get better again. So yeah. Happy Hermit says, sorry to hear that, Absurd. Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry you've been going through that stuff, eh? All the way says, I'm glad it helps. That it's symbiotic. Yes, symbiotic, exactly. We're inspiring each other and we're helping each other, and I do these streams at different times, so it's people might watch the videos and then don't get to join the stream that often, so I'm going to try and do streams at different times so people in different parts of the world can be here. All the way absurd says thank you, Happy, much love. Happy Hermit's got the heart back to you with the smiling heart. That's awesome. Yeah, totally. It's the healing journey is a long one. It's not easy, but the thing is that as you get through bits, things get better, and you can appreciate things that you lost. They come back, and then you can smile again. You can laugh, you can, even if you're not laughing and smiling very often, like you might get a chance to do it. Whereas for 6 months or years or decades even, you couldn't laugh or smile or enjoy life. And then suddenly little bits get better and better. And then you have difficult days and difficult months, and it's all worth it. Hey, it's all worth it. Keep pushing through. Happy Hermit says, I like to think that it's nice we got together, and it's a beautiful thing that we gathered today to share, smile and laugh. It's very healing. Totally. I appreciate that, Happy. And I know what you're going through too right now. It's very painful. So I appreciate that. And we got to reminisce of some beautiful times. All the way absurd says it's worth it. Things get better. Absolutely, I agree. Things do get better, and sometimes things take time. Like for instance, I'm going through like pain and grief, and I have struggled for the last 2 months to really do much, but things are slowly getting better now. Like, I'm at this point where I can see things are going to start happening again, because I had momentum in the past and then it slowed, but I could see it coming back, and I can feel it now. I can feel it. I'm starting to look forward to everything, because I was working on trying to start a small business so I could work for myself, and then that just sort of stopped, and I didn't get anything done. But I can pick it all up again, and it's not like I haven't been working on it. Like I've been still doing my mindfulness sessions with people, and that's part of that's what I want to do. So I have actually been doing it. When I look back at things, I go, oh, I haven't accomplished this, and then I'm like, yeah, but you've actually done quite a lot on this and quite a lot on that. So even though I haven't been able to do much, I've been able to do some, and it means that I can pick it all up again. So my big thing is like exercise and I put on a lot of weight in the last year and a half, and I have to lose that weight. Not all of it, but a lot of it, a lot of what I put on. So I know I've got a lot of work to do, and I've been putting off really pushing to get that, because that's going to be a lot of work. But I'll feel better just from doing that as well, Happy Hermit says, thanks, mate. That's it. I think that was from what All the Way Absurd said. So he's saying thanks to you. All the Way Absurd says, oh, I like this. Oh, I like this. Yeah, thank you. It's good. A lot of love in the room tonight. Everyone's really appreciating connection and all that. I love that. All the Way Absurd says, things are getting slowly better for me too. Yeah, that's awesome. And just, it's good to know that, like, when it seems like things aren't happening, it can be so disillusioning, or what's the word? Yeah, something like that. It can be it can be tough because you just think, oh, nothing's happening, and then just that knowing that it does take time and that bit by bit things do get better. You don't worry so much about trying to, there will be times where suddenly things stop. Like, for instance, a lot of the work I did last year in trauma healing didn't stop the pain, but it stopped the flashbacks and the physical effects of the flashbacks. Something changed, and for me, it was massive, because it doesn't mean I don't get nightmares. Doesn't mean I don't feel sad and depressed and feel like I've lost periods of time in my life and all that stuff, and regret and all that, and pain. Just the pain of the different things. But I'm so glad that it's a part of it has gotten better, and I feel so much better for that. So, if the next little bit takes a long time, I don't mind, because I know that when that gets better, it's just going to be even better and better. So, Happy Hermit says, why is it so hard to see our positives and what we have to be grateful for? I hope to rewire that someday soon. It weighs on me. Yeah, it is difficult. We don't focus on the positives, and I think it's part of that is like a survival thing, like we don't get too complacent, and what it means is we then focus on the negative, or we don't give credence to the positive. Like, don't give it place, and don't celebrate. So it's good to actually celebrate your wins and appreciate it. And that was something I was taught last year by my carer coach, and she taught me to, once a week, at the end of the week, write down, 3 things that you succeeded with. What were your wins? What did you accomplish this week that you didn't think you were going to, or something you're happy about? And then another one would be like, then write 3 things that you're aware of and you're going to work on more. So it's not even focusing on the negative with that. It's like saying, well, what do I need to give more attention to make better? So it's looking at something that is, and giving it a positive light to what it could be, And if you practice that, and you can even do it every day, like practicing gratitude every day, writing down what you're grateful for in your diary. I'm grateful for a roof, and food, shelter, and all that stuff. And I appreciate that, the very small amounts of water that goes through the leaks, that land on the bits in my room that make me worry about the rain, is nothing compared to actually having protection from the rain. But that's a really good comment, Happy Hermit. And I think it's something that, because it's something we don't focus on, it's good for us to train ourselves to look at those things. All the way up says it helps for me to think about a list of things that went well at the end of the day. That helps a lot. Don't let the good things be invisible. That's it. That's a brilliant brilliant example, is to just do that. And you don't even have to write it down. You can think of the list. You can sit in your chair or lay in bed or whatever and just go, what what happened today. Go through it all. I might just shut the door because it's the rains. It's raining so heavy. I can't really, even though I don't have to hear. Like, I'm gonna just give me a minute. Even though I don't have to listen to feedback, I think after hearing the rain for the last 2 days, I just want the door closed. That was good. I took the opportunity to check the other spot where it's flooded, where I've fixed the drainage, and take a toilet break. But the spot where I fixed the drainage, it's good. So it filled up with a bit of water, and all it took was a towel to soak up a little bit of that water. It hasn't continued, so I'm really good and happy about that. So Happy Hermit says, like yesterday, I had such a good day. Sorry. I cleaned so much, took my Great Dane out for a drive, and we had a great adventure and walking at the park. And I didn't crave alcohol or a cigarette at all. That's awesome. That's a really good thing, like when you do something enriching, it takes away those sorts of cravings, and it's such a difficult thing, it gives you sort of hope that those things won't be such a sort of, you know what you can do to replace and enrich your life and not have those things be that craving for alcohol and tobacco and stuff. So and also just your whole mood, making you feel better overall, and having an adventure. How good is it? And then you got something from it's so easy to not do that, and then when you do go for a walk or go see something and go do something, and then it's amazing how much everything gets better. Happy Hermit says, been free of smoking and drinking nearly a month now. That's awesome, man. Really good on you. I've been almost I've had breaks and then times where I've been finding cigarettes difficult to quit. So I've gone a few days and then buckled, Whereas alcohol, I can easily go longer, you know. But yeah, it's good when you get to a month. You feel so much better. Like especially if you're doing both, you must be feeling so much better. So yeah, good on you for that, man. Keep staying strong with that. Hey. Happy Hermit says I should start journaling. Absolutely, I reckon it's the best thing, man. Journaling is so good. And if you get it, like I've got these are my old, um, you know, these are my like old work diaries. I mean, you can journal with a phone, but you can't really. You could journal with a phone if you do audio recordings and you just sit there on a rock under a tree and record it, and then you get home and you type it up or write it down. But if you get a compact book that you can just keep in your pocket, and you can get like compact pens as well, so you can go for a walk and carry it with you, and then because it's good to journal at home, but also, you know, if you're going out in nature, it can be where you get the inspiration, and so that's that. I like sitting under a tree and writing stuff. Um, Journaling is such a powerful thing. All the way absurd says happy. I'm so glad to hear that. Love hearing people get a month down. That's so good. Yeah, exactly. I think that's it. Once you get that first month, you know, you're feeling better. Like you tobacco and the alcohol are out of your system. Life is so much better then, and you can think better, and you start feeling positive. You know, and you'll find, like, say, sometime if you do have something to drink in the next 6 months or a year, when you do, you will feel like you don't want to keep drinking. You know, you've gone good enough, and you don't want to start again. So that's the key. Is if you do have that first drink again, don't stay strong and go back to no drinking again, because I know that works when I do have breaks like that, 6 months or a year, and that I feel so much better. And then if I can have a drink and then stop, that's good. But if it's not going to serve me, then it's best to stay off it. And so, you know, I'll I've had too many sort of attempts at it in the last while, and I've only gone like a week or two, maybe 2 weeks at the most, and I haven't made the month yet. I've done it many times in the past, but I've and alcohol. I mean, tobacco. I've only been able to go a few days. I've been meaning to quit, and I've tried, and I just haven't been able to. I'm not going to get angry at myself at the moment for it, um, but I'm gonna. I know that I'll make it there. You know, all the way absurd says, "Oh wait, I'm taking too long." Yeah, Happy Hermit says, "Thank you, friend. Awesome." All the way absurd says, "Happy, you should. Sounds like your intuition is telling you to do this. Listen to it." Yeah, that's it. Get a couple of books. Get a couple of journaling books. Like one this big's good. You know, because then you can actually write better. You know, and then these are poems I wrote sitting on a log under a tree. And it's good. And journaling, and you don't even like. There's so like you don't know what you're going to like more. You might actually start writing poetry if you've never written poetry. You don't know if it's short stories or it could be biography. You could start writing memoirs of memories of your life and things like that. So once you start, and then you start real like gravitating towards things that you like writing, then you'll start doing that more, and then you'll get into it more, and then all of a sudden you've got all this material, and you might go, oh, I don't want to share this stuff, but then you might go, oh, this is really, I feel like I want to share this stuff, so you could share it, you know. So it's all up to you how you deal with it. Like, it could be your private diary, your personal information, you know. It's so powerful how you can deal with stuff by writing. Happy Hermit says, I will, I promise. Awesome. And me too. I'll do that with the smoking as well, and the drinking, you know. I can't wait to actually say, hey, Happy, it's been a month down, no smoking, no drinking. So that's good. I look forward to that. All the way absurd says, that's really helpful. It takes a long time to run into the right advice with therapy. There's so much stuff that is just textbook. I agree. And you know, stuff like journaling, you can't go wrong with it. It's such a powerful thing for so many things. You know, you're doing something, you're being creative, you're letting your emotions out, and you're also working through difficult things. It gives you a way to actually write about your trauma as well. And you know, you don't even have to talk about it in the first person. You can actually, you know, like I've written lots of poems about, you know, difficulties of like someone who's lost in the forest, or swimming in the ocean, you know, lost in the ocean, and then gets rescued, but or finds an island and gets home, works out how to get there. So like, it's like at first you're lost, and then suddenly things get better because you keep treading water, you know, you don't give up, and eventually you find salvation, or you find help. And in the end, it's you're the one who helped yourself get there, because you kept treading water and you didn't give up. And yeah, it's such a powerful thing. And I would probably put it as my number one most powerful transformative thing is journaling, writing, creative writing and poetry, and it just covers so many different things. And at the end of it, you've got something to show for it. You know, you've got like a bunch of poems that you've written, and you can read them again, and you can share them with people. It's amazing. All the way absurd says, I haven't drunk for 3 years. That's awesome news, man. Good on you. I love All the way absurd continues. I love hearing people that change and get some time in. Just do a day at a time, because just one day you can handle. Yeah, that's it with this, the strong. Yeah, I hear that. It's a good way to start, and then you build up, you know, then you go a few days, and then you go, you know, 4 or 5 week, and then you can do longer. And you're not like trying to like give yourself this ultimatum to like, you know, quit everything all at once. And you know, you're giving yourself the understanding that it's not easy to do. All the way absurd says, I love that. That pumps me up, dude. Hearing about sober success, yes, that is. Yeah, good on you, Happy Hermit. Like, keep it going, man. And like, you're inspiring me. So I think when my pouch of tobacco runs out, that'll be it. You know, no more smoking. And I've been easing down, like, you know, I went a few weeks where I didn't have alcohol, and then it became difficult. So I haven't been able to but I'm not drinking excessively, and so that's going to make it easier for me to stop, which will be soon. It's almost like but even then, like, I don't want to do it anymore, and that's what I say to myself. I was like, I don't want this anymore. It's time for me to stop this now. It's not helping me. It's holding me back, So Happy Hermit says, thank you so much. That means a lot. I already feel so much better. I'm losing weight. That's it. I can't wait too. I've been putting on all this weight, so I know that the alcohol's done that to me in the last year. The food, the alcohol, and not exercising enough. But as soon as I start eating better, exercising, and quit alcohol, it's good, You feel better when you lose the weight like that, and it happens quickly, doesn't it? As soon as you're just like, wow, that's how much weight, that's how much extra calories I was just by drinking. Like, beer is full of calories. Like, different alcohol's got different amounts, but even if it doesn't have high calories, it changes your metabolism. So your body might not process food right, and then you put on weight, even if the alcohol itself doesn't have the calories. All the way says, you're going to lose weight. That's one of the fun parts. Haha. Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait for that. And Happy's already got the results. That's happening. All the way says, don't feel bad for replacing, because that's normal. Don't beat yourself up. It took me so many times to quit smoking cigarettes. Yeah, thanks for that, man. That's good, because it's like, it's not easy, hey. But as soon as you get past those first week, especially the first 4 days are really tough, but then the first week gets better after that. And I'd quit last year, and I was using nicotine spray, and my stomach went all bad, and that was because of other reasons. But like, I'm sure that it wasn't helping, so I can't try. I have to go cold turkey. I can't use a nicotine spray or chewing gum or anything, especially after what happened last year. It's just like, no, I can't. So I have to go cold turkey. So it just means that I'm going to have those difficult days. Those first week is going to be really tough, and then it'll get better. Happy Hermit says, I got some lozenges from the drugstore that are helping me a lot as well. Thanks for listening to me. Yeah, no worries, mate. And so I'm wondering if those lozenges are nicotine ones, or are they like just other lozenges? Because just replacing it with just something like as a substitute can be just as good like that. All the way says that's true. Happy says, very true. I found that especially with cigarettes. My neighbor smokes, and when I smell the waft of it, it disgusts me already. That's awesome. So you've gotten past that stage. So if you haven't gotten past that first stage, when you smell that waft of cigarette smoke, that's when you go, right, grab the keys and you go down the shop and you buy a pack of cigarettes. So you've gotten past that stage, which is really good. It's this disgust one. One that it does work for me is to have an ashtray and pour water in it and make it really stinky smelly. Like, you pour water in an ashtray and it smells real bad. And then just like place, you don't have to have it in near you, but you can have it somewhere where you can go to it. And if you feel the urge to smoke, just go and smell the ashtray, and you'll just be like, this is disgusting. Like, I don't feel like a cigarette now. So that helps as well. It's like reinforcing the negative smell to make you just go, thank you, I'm glad I don't smoke anymore. All the way says, I'm in the US. The Oz accents always sounded so pleasing. You're good to listen to. Oh, thanks, mate. That's good. I try. Sometimes I'll do a stream and I'll be saying and and I'm this, I'm that, and I get all self-conscious about how I'm speaking. But it's good to know that I think tonight I feel like I've been able to speak well tonight. So I appreciate that. Thank you. And when I start doing my mindfulness stuff, my meditations, like I'll be making meditations, and so I'll be able to it helps to be able to speak, and to, so that gives me, I get a lot of confidence when I hear that. So thank you all the way. Happy says, I'm in the US as well, Texas. That's awesome. All the way says, it takes 3 weeks to break a habit. For me, I would replace cigs with snacks like peanut butter or peanuts. You want something to do with your hands and mouth so that replacing that action could help. Yeah, that's a really good one. That is. So if you're gonna eat something that's like a snack, that's good, like having something something to replace it food wise. My biggest problem is I get real dizzy in those first week. I get real dizzy and then short of breath in a strange way, and it's like the addiction thing. And then it's not, and then when I get a cigarette, and then it's better. So somehow replacing that. Exercise is a good one. That has helped in the past. Years ago when I quit, long time ago, for many years, exercising really was the thing. Many years ago when I quit for a long time, very long time, I ate sandwiches that had onion, and they were like thick pieces of, like, slices of onion. So like you would eat the onion sandwich, and your nose, you'd be sneezing, and your eyes would be watering. But like it was something about the strength of it. Like it helped me quit, because and again, maybe the onion was good because it cleared out all the sinuses and things like that. But when you cut an onion and then you go to cut it up, no, like you just steaks of onion, so it's solid. Like if you lift up the piece of bread, it's just all onion and a bit of cheese and a bit of butter. Like not much, maybe a bit of relish or chutney or something. Not much else. But the onion was the thickest thing, and so it would make your eyes water and your nose run and all that, and you'd feel the effect of the onion, and it would sort of counteract the addiction thing. All the way absurd says Kentucky here, so you're not far from each other, isn't it? Wait, I'm still learning all the states. Yeah, you're near each other. You're in the same sort of, I'm guessing. I need to learn where I'm starting to fill in where all the states are, and I can sort of get a mental picture. But yeah, you go, yeah. And Kentucky's north of Tennessee, right? Tennessee, Kentucky, and the Appalachians go up like that. I'm still learning it all. There's so much. When you got 50 states, we only got like 7 states here, or 6. We don't even have 7 states. We got Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Tasmania, Western Australia. So we got 7 states, and we got 2 territories. So we got 9 states. The territories you could say are states, but they're not. They're territories. So it's much easier for me to, and I'm only just learning where all the countries are in Europe, and not just Europe, Eastern Europe, Middle East, Asia. I'm finally learning where everything is, and it's taking so long. Friends of mine that have traveled, I guess it's easier for them to have a mental note of where everything is because they've been to those places. But if you've never been somewhere, like me, I only know it from maps and from getting to know. But yeah, I'm starting to get to know. It's good. All the Way Absurd says I was in Austin for a little while. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Like that's up in the mountains, isn't it? Happy Hermit says, "Oh, nice." Happy Hermit says, "I need to create a Discord for the channel." Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, I did set up the Patreon. I was going to start using that as a similar to a Discord, but yeah, we'll have to chat about that, man. We'll do that. We'll sort that out. You'd be good for working on that. So I used to have Discord. I'll download it again. I'll get and see what happens. There's the one thing I was sort of holding off with Discord was it doesn't work well for Braille, and that was, well, not just that. There was a few things. So like, but it's pretty awesome setup. Like it does so much on Discord. It's pretty good. Yeah, we'll sort something out with that soon. Happy Hermit, I like that. Thank you, man. We'll chat more about it. All the Way Absurd says, I like to write poetry when I feel romantic or really sad. It's nice. And it's fun looking up new words in the thesaurus. Yeah, that's awesome. And it's such a good thing too. Like when you're happy, you can write romantic stuff. And when you're sad, you can write sad stuff, And it's awesome, isn't it? It's such a just the act of writing too. Like I often will write warm-up poems. Like I'll write 3 or 4 or even more poems that are just warm-up poems, and then the real good stuff starts. Then I really start getting into the stuff that really is letting all that emotion out and stuff, and thinking about things in a deeper way. All the Way says, but that's awesome. You write poetry, man. If you ever want to share any stuff, like we can put it on the community page or whatever. They don't even call it the community page anymore on YouTube. It's just called posts. So, but you know what I mean. All the Way Absurd says, I have to run. It's 5 a.m. here. Lol. I hope to see you again. Thanks for the good talk. Be kind to yourselves, okay? Thanks for being here, All the Way Absurd. really good to meet you. Now I know that you've watched a few of the videos, and so you've been there for a while, and then to finally meet you is amazing. And you know, we've all had a great chat. We all appreciate you being here, and look forward again to seeing you next time. Happy Hermit says, "See you, buddy. Talk soon." That's awesome. So yeah, look forward to it again. All the way absurd says, "You're so welcome. Blessings later, all," with the hearts. Happy Hermit says, "Yeah, Discord works with people's phones' accessibility settings." That's good to know. I'll look into that, because that was something that I needed to. Yeah, I look forward to that. Yeah, exactly, man. Happy Hermit says, "Well, that was a good stream. I appreciate it too." That is, and it's probably a good time for me to end soon, because I need to go spend some time with Dad. I haven't spent much time with him in the last 2 days, so you know, given with everything going on, it's probably good for me to do that. And I said to him earlier, I'll come up and hang out for a bit. So, and I appreciate everyone like being here. And we had a great chat, Happy Hermit. That was good. You weren't hogging the chat. It just happens like that sometimes, you know. And it's good when someone has, you know, needs to say stuff. They can. There's that opportunity for that, you know. So I appreciate that. Happy Hermit says, "Tell him we said hello and all that good stuff." I will. He'll appreciate that. Thanks for uplifting me. Oh, brother, thanks for the chat and reminiscing about skateboard and BMX ramps and push button phones and doing all that stuff, like back in the 80s and 90s, you know. That's awesome. And I look forward to catching up again with you all. I'll do a video in the next day or two of the creek and the dam wall to show you the overflow and see how much water's coming out of it, and maybe some shots of like the ground with like all the branches. But you'll see that the branches aren't massive. They're only like smaller branches. There's a few big ones, but nothing that caused major damage. Happy Hammer says, "See you, buddy. Big hugs. I hope to catch those streams." Yeah, likewise, brother. Big hugs back, and stay strong. It's good to hear you're off the tobacco and the alcohol, and that's where I'm headed. And it's given me. I've got to do it now. So when I can't wait to say, look, Happy, it's been a month now. I can't wait. So I look forward to that. That's inspired me. So thank you, and thanks for the chats, everyone. I'll again, very lucky that this cyclone was a lot milder than what it was possibly going to be. So anyway, it's pretty much finished now. I think the rain's pretty much, it's easing up now, and I'll just quickly look at the radar before I end the stream, and then I can tell you what it's looking like. Yeah, it's looking like a typical sort of summer low pressure system, but it's very slow moving now, and it doesn't have a lot of energy. So I would say by tomorrow morning, there's no rain, and there might be a bit of rain tomorrow, but it's not going to be. It'll be good. It means people can get out and clean up. You know, that's to get the power connected to like these 100,000 people. And our energy company needs to have dry weather to really get in and work hard. They can work in the rain, but they can't work at pace. It's so much slower for them. So as soon as they got good dry weather, they can get in and they can work really fast. They're amazing. Our energy people who work in our energy connection lines are just tough, hard workers that really good people. They really work overtime to get things fixed. So well respected people. Yeah. Happy says not all to everyone. We'll catch up again soon.